that time of year that I wait for all year long. The winter, well, fall actually, and winter combo culminating into Christmas. So December is my birthday month. I get all kinds of excited about this time of year. And one of my main favorite things is the food, right? But we have to be careful, definitely this year, because quarantine has been kind to a lot of us, if you know what I'm saying. So I'm focusing on only low carb, only keto compliant items this year to sort of fill out our holiday traditions, right? So one of those I want to share with you today is a sweet treat. And as you guys know, one of the great things about low carb is that while you can't replicate certain items like Doritos, one of my favorites, you can definitely replicate sweet stuff because there are so many great sugar alternatives out there. The three that we're going to work with today, I have allulose. Allulose is something I've kind of come to more lately. Sort of haven't used it much before, but it's a good one. That's what I'm going to use today. Try it out. Also, we have Swerve. Swerve is what I use the most. Swerve, unlike stevia, doesn't quite have that kind of aftertaste that a lot of times stevia would have, but it does have more of a kind of cooling sensation. It's mostly erythritol, so if you're familiar with that, that's how it operates, but it's just really, really good. I really like the way it turns out in recipes. Oh, another thing, this has nothing to do with the recipe, by the way, but we went to a party recently, and they had these Friends cookies, definitely not keto compliant, but we got them just to see. But are those just the cutest things? They're doing God's work with these cookies, I swear. I don't know how they do it. But yeah, this one's like the turkey with the sunglasses and then the little Friends couch. So definitely we're glad Friends is back in our lives. Thank you, HBO Max, for that. But getting started with our recipe for today. So first of all, I'm gonna divide you from the very beginning. These are from my home state of Louisiana. And they are pecan pralines. So right there, I've lost the pecan crowd and the praline crowd, but I don't care because I say pecan and I say praline. That's just the way it works. But the main thing you're gonna wanna do to make these is toast your pecans. I am the laziest person in the world. I like to do things, you guys know if you've watched my other videos, I only do things that are quick and easy, that's the goal, right? But I cannot tell you the difference that toasting your pecans makes before you make something. We're also going to do a candied pecan recipe pretty soon, and I will do the same for that. But for this one today, for the pecan pralines, trust me, makes all the difference. 350 for about 8 minutes. Kind of check on just to make sure because oven temperatures might vary, but 350 for 8 minutes. And I'm just going to give these are the pecan halves. I'm just going to give these a loose chop, because I go back and forth on whether I like chopped pecans or whole halves, but today we're gonna kind of split the difference and do a rough chop so that we have a little bit of the best of both worlds. All right, good enough. Okay, and then I'm also using my Texas cutting board so I don't make my Texan friends upset since I said I'm from Louisiana. All right, so that takes care of that. So the first thing we're gonna do after we chop our pecans that have been toasted, put those aside for a minute, we are going to turn on our cooktop to medium. We wanna have a medium-sized saucepan here and put that over medium heat and let that start heating up. In the meantime, let's go over our ingredients of what's gonna be part of these pralines, okay? So you're gonna have 5 tablespoons of butter divided, 4 and 1. You're gonna have 6 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream. You're gonna have a 1/3 cup of your sweetener, whether that's allulose, Swerve, whatever. You can use powdered, you can use granulated, either way is fine. I'm also gonna put in 2 tablespoons of the brown sugar substitute, brown Swerve, right? We've got 1 teaspoon of vanilla and then our remaining tablespoon of butter. And that's it, that's all you need, except for salt, which everyone has, and a little bit of cinnamon. So those are our main ingredients that we have. I don't have any wax paper, I just ran out, so I'm gonna use parchment paper today, which we'll get to that in a little bit. But for now, let's go over to our pot and we're gonna put in our butter to let that start going. And we are going to put in our cream. There we go. And we're just gonna stir this up. Just like this. Easy, easy so far. This is going to be one of those things where for the people that cook a lot, you'll know what I mean. And for the people that I don't, it drives them crazy. Unfortunately, I mean, you could use a candy thermometer probably in the real world and do this the right way, but kind of like Paula Deen one time said, she's not a chef, she's a cook. That's how I feel. I'm not a chef. I'm barely even making this happen, to be honest with you. So God bless you for coming along on the journey with me. But all I can tell you is you want to keep stirring this until it gets to a almost brown look. And if you've ever seen a pecan praline or any other kind of just regular praline, I guess even without pecans, they have that deep sort of caramel color, and that's what we're going for. So we're just going to keep stirring this until we get to that. Now I'm not going to bore you with doing this the whole time. I'll cut out and cut back in once it's ready to go so you can get an idea what it looks like. Okay, so checking back in, this is looking pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead at this point and I'm going to add my sweeteners. So we're going to put in our 1/3 cup allulose in this case, and our 2 tablespoons of brown Swerve. We're just going to mix all that like so, and you can see that already helps to add to our color. That's what we call a false positive. Makes you think it's getting where it needs to be. It's not there yet. It takes more time. Can't rush the good stuff. That's one thing I've learned. This is so good. I'm telling you guys, I have a bad habit of saying this is so easy, this is so easy. Maybe you don't think it is. I think it's pretty easy. I mean, this is not that bad. But I can see where this might be difficult for someone who's first starting out and you have a hard time, like, is it supposed to look like this? It's supposed to look like that. How closely do I have to watch it? Can I walk away for a second? I mean, I know that's tough because, you know, this is not one of those I can tell you where you're going to mess it up by, you know, walking away for a minute or something like that. You do want to be vigilant, but this is not the hardest recipe in the world. You'll be fine. So we're going to keep stirring and stirring, looking for the color and consistency. We're also going to wait for it to kind of cook down a little bit, for it to be not so runny. It'll start to thicken up, you know, as those sweeteners and the cream and the butter start to, you know, come together. Okay, looking good. Okay, so we're still stirring. And, you know, like I just said a minute ago, if you need to go do something, this is probably not the best time to go away for an extended period of time because you don't want this to scorch on the bottom, okay? You want to make sure that you're really kind of being mindful of it. But I know during the holidays, a lot of stuff's going on, especially if you have a family, you're pulled in 6 different directions half the time, so I get it. But this is one of those where you do want to keep somewhat close of an eye on it. Don't go too far. Still coming along. We're seeing a nice bubble going. That's what you want to see. It should look just like this at this point. We're just going to keep stirring to keep things cooking, but also not sticking in one spot. I mean, I cannot tell you guys how excited I am for this time of year. It is when you have the awful yet amazing Hallmark movies that go wall to wall. You have the Bath & Body Works candles, which I was never a fan of, but then Mark ruined me on those, so now half of our income goes to those and the soaps. But you have good deals this time of year. Candle Days, I think it's like December 4th to the 7th this year, something like that, around that time. People are in a better mood. You've got, you know, Christmas lights outside. It's just so great. I just love it. I just love it. We're probably going to also make our normal meal that we usually make, which is the prime rib with potatoes and green beans. So, you know, obviously the potatoes wouldn't be the best choice for the low carb crowd. I don't eat those, but I definitely make those for Mark. You can make those for your carnivore family members and friends that might be joining you. So we'll probably do a video to sort of give you a peek of our Christmas night, how we celebrate. So this is still coming along. Like I said, it's not the fastest process in the world. Just takes time, but it is worth it. And the other thing is, this is the bulk of your time. There's not going to be a, you know, oven portion of this, or now we go to step 16B, nothing like that. This is it. And this is what it should look like at this point. Still bubbling, still looking great. We'll check back in just a second. Okay, still going. It's been about 10 minutes or so that we've been stirring this at this point. And oh, as we've said before, if there was smell-o-vision, the smell of the sweetness, it's already bringing on the Christmas memories. It's looking good so far. Patience is a virtue. All right, so this is browning up and getting about where we want it to be. This is what it should look like at this point. Kind of a light caramel color, darker. You can tell it's starting to thicken up and solidify. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and just turn off our heat, and then we're gonna take our pecans. That's right, I said it, pecans, not pecans. And we're gonna mix these in like so. Now, I can't remember if I told you before or not, but this is a cup. We took a cup of pecans, toasted them like I told you over 350-degree oven, or in a 350-degree oven rather, for about 8 minutes. I'm just making a mess. That's how you know you're cooking great, when you're making a mess. If your kitchen's clean, you didn't do it right. All right, so we're gonna mix these in, grab these stragglers, and then we're gonna take it off the heat. Okay, then we're gonna add our remaining tablespoon of butter, and we're gonna add our vanilla. Ooh, and nobody will be mad at you if you mix a little vanilla in more than the 1 teaspoon, because it is so good. Also, nobody's gonna be mad if you spill a little bourbon in. Some people do that. I haven't done that in this one, but I've heard that's really, really good. Okay, so we're just gonna mix this around. Should look like this. And you can kind of see where it's starting to form that familiar look of the delicious pecan praline there for you, for that crowd. Enjoy. All right, so we've mixed this up. We're gonna add a little dash of salt, maybe a little more. And we're going to add maybe 2 or 3 shakes of cinnamon. Really just adds a richness to it. But again, this is one of those recipes where you can kind of mix it up a little bit for your own personal taste. You can really feel it. You can see here, it's starting to look how it should. But yeah, if you don't like cinnamon, don't put it in. If you don't like salt, if you have a sensitivity to that, don't put it in. Totally your choice. It's your life. Do whatever you want. All right, so we're gonna put this aside for a minute, and we're gonna grab our parchment paper. Again, because I'm not prepared and do not have wax paper, but this will work just fine. I'm gonna put this here. Don't want it to catch on fire from the burner. Now I have a small ladle that I use to put this out, but you could just use a spoon, whatever works. So we're gonna take our mixture, and you can kind of see where it's already starting to look how it should. So I take a spoonful, maybe about like, this should make about 9. This is for a serving size of 9, I should say, but it really is kind of how big you want them to be and how you want them to look. So it won't really affect anything except the portions as far as the grams of carbs and protein and things like that. But are you really watching it when you're eating this kind of stuff? And again, let me say a word about that. This is, as we have said before, a treat. I personally, it's your choice, but in my version of low carb, I don't like to get used to eating things like this. I prefer to get away from sweets. That's why this is a holiday type treat and not something I would normally make on a regular night. I know other people, they like their fat bombs, they like their, you know, bacon on everything, they eat sweet, they eat keto versions of bread, and that's great if that works for you, but for me, I don't even want to have those kind of temptations. So I try to get away from eating that kind of stuff. So again, this is definitely a treat. This is more of a holiday treat. So, because I'm my own fat bomb. I don't need any more fat bombs. But we're gonna put these into the refrigerator and let them firm up. Should take maybe like 30 minutes. And I'm gonna check back with you after that and show you the finished product. Okay, so that was an epic fail. Lesson for today is do not use allulose for this recipe. It came out good. This was the first time I'd done that. Usually I do Swerve. So I was trying it and the flavor was really good, but it made more of a flubber-esque consistency. It didn't harden up at all. So if you want like maybe gooey, I don't even know what, but the flavor is really good. So What I did was, I know you're saying, okay, but look, then you have these pralines right here, which look like they're normal, which they are. But that's because I went back later and redid another batch with the Swerve. So it is my 100% recommendation to use powdered Swerve, 1/3 of a cup. Everything else we did the same. Everything else we did the same. But only use 1/3 of a cup of the powdered Swerve, still keep the 2 tablespoons of the brown sugar Swerve, all that the same. But if you do that, you're gonna end up with pralines that are more of how they should be. So see, they come up just like this, look like that. That's how they should look and not be flubber when you hold them. However, we will always be turning keto lemons into keto lemonade around here. And what we're gonna do with this flubber praline is we're gonna go a la marble slab and make this into an ice cream. We'll do like pecans and praline ice cream that you could serve if you had friends over, whether they're keto or whether they're not keto. I think anyone would enjoy it. The ice cream that we like to use a lot is the Rebel, right? So you've got 4 grams of carbs for the whole pint, and it's a lot in here. So what we will do with this is just take out the ice cream. Oops, still a little hard. And lesson to you and to me, you might want to let this soften up a little bit. So it's soft around the bottom there. I'll take this piece here. Okay. And what we can do is just take a pint of this and then use our praline flubber that was created by accident. And who knows, this is how it works. You know, things just sometimes happy little accidents, like Bob Ross used to say. Happy little accidents, and before you know it, you've created something delicious that you weren't even intending to create. So as this softens up, it'll be easier to mix it together. We'll let this sit for a little while. Go ahead and clean up little spills. Clean as we go, clean as we go. So it's not just a massive mess in here. So keto ice cream, if you haven't had it, there's different ones. Rebel, Enlightened is low carb as well. They're very good. However, they don't refreeze well. Once you break that seal, so to speak, it just doesn't ever, it just gets really hard and solid. And, you know, there's a tip for regular ice cream that you can put it in a Ziploc bag, in the container still, put the whole container in a Ziploc bag, and it keeps it soft, keeps it from hardening up. It doesn't work so much with keto ice cream, probably because of the erythritol, who knows, but regardless, now this is starting to soften up. I think it'll be good. And we'll make some mugs, ice cream with it. Again, this would be a good dessert, probably more in the summertime, but we're having to improvise right now, so we're gonna have ice cream in the winter, which is always a nice unexpected treat as well. Okay, so I'm gonna get Mark to come in here and try this and see what he thinks. Okay, so Mark is here, right? And obviously I think we've run this joke as far as we can, but we're gonna get a little bit more, a few more miles out of it. So I don't know if you've ever been in this room or not. This is the kitchen. Oh yeah. I know you don't spend a lot of time in here, but this is what this room is. And I was making pralines, right? And so I won't bore you with the details, but basically I used the wrong, well not the wrong, I used a different sweetener than I usually use. So instead of turning out like these, it turned out into like this mush. So I made it into ice cream instead with the Rebel ice cream, yeah. So I got you your mug.
Thanks.
Which if you can see that, it says, don't be a salty bitch. So, I mean, it's a tall order for the mug, but you know, let's see. So we'll do mug ice cream. And you have to try it.
All right.
Because we have to finish this because there's no, it doesn't refreeze well.
All right.
And I've got my Dorinda medley. I cooked, I decorated, I made it nice.
Silly.
Okay, so we're gonna try this and see how it turned out. Because if this turned out well, then we could use this as a dessert for like when guests come over, or for us.
Okay.
Okay, so try it.
All right. It's good.
Is that your lying face or your real face?
My lying face. No kidding. No, it's really good.
Bitch, that's why I get you drunk before I make you try stuff. It's good though, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Try one of these.
All right. Are you sure this is low carb?
It is. So these are with the erythritol here. There you go.
Thank you. All right.
How was it?
Mmm.
So these are really good to, like I said, just have around
Really
the
good.
house. If you were gonna treat yourself, treat others, this is a good segue into some low carb options for people that are trying to still get used to like missing the sweets.
It's sweet, but not overly sugary.
Yeah. And like this, you could put into like ice cream too.
Yeah.
You could crumble that up.
It still has the consistency of praline.
Yeah.
Very good.
So, thanks for watching. Do all the YouTube stuff. If you like these videos, click like, leave us comments, questions, happy to answer. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Click the notification so you know when we post new videos, and we will see you later.
All right.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Thanks for joining us.